Ladies and gentlemen, I'm A.K. Mathur, Vice President of Lucknow Management Association, which is a top-rated affiliate of All India Management Association. LMA, as it is called, organizes management development programs and high-impact interactions on public policy issues. We have over 2,000 professional members of LMA. HRAI is a non-profit human resource association that firmly believes in delivering value through landmark summits, which offer unique opportunities for subject matter experts to share knowledge, which will help its member to learn about the latest advances in technology and innovation. In the world of conferences, HRAI believes in leveraging the power of knowledge to deliver value to every participating delegate and organization at HRAI events. This is the cornerstone of HRAI drives towards excellence. LMA is very happy to associate with HRAI in this webinar on the day after tomorrow, the new and the next normal. And I have great pleasure in welcoming all of you to this program. COVID-19, as per the latest WHO prediction, is going to continue for a pretty long time, and we have already stepped uh, in an era of greater collaboration and coexistence, which will be the new normal in the time to come post COVID. We will hear about these normals in this discussion. Before I introduce our distinguished panelists, I will take a few minutes uh, on Zoom, uh, though many of you would be already familiar. It is very important to follow these rules as in order to have an effective sessions. Three rules that I would like to take you through are: number one, kindly do not record this meeting as this would be available on our social media pages. Second, request all of you to please keep your Zoom audio on mute. Third, please use your full name as your screen name and not your device name, as it doesn't allow us to identify who you are. As your video is off and your name is not mentioned, we'll have to move those participants to waiting room for security reasons. So please cooperate. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We'll be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our esteemed panel. To begin with, our first panel member, Dr. Somaya Bagyan, General Manager HR and IR, Gold Star Jewelry Private Limited. She comes with 20 years of immense corporate experience in the field of sales, marketing, corporate strategy, and HR, with complete knowledge about all the segments of various markets in the field of luxury products, jewelry, sales, human behavior, and their countless interplays and ramifications. She has been leading the human resource strategist functions for employee business unit, including training and onboarding, performance management, retention and development, and benefits. She also acts as PPA, strategic business partner, to general and upper management, providing guidance on how to best derive employee engagement while limiting legal risk exposure through strong knowledge and employment law. Sumaya is an MBA with dual specialization in marketing and international trade from SIMS and PGDM gold medalist from Rani Durgavati Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur, MP, and she recently completed her PhD in analysis of functions, efficiency, and probability of a particular e-commerce from Rajasthan University. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our request and being a part of the panel. Our next panel member, Mr. Raghunandan S.V., Chief Enabling Officer, S.V. Associates. Raghunandan is a versatile people manager, lifelong learner, and a high-performing HR business partner with over 24 years of extensive experience in handling complete employee life cycle management. He is a strategic planner with proficiency in streamlining business HR processes, defining continuous process improvement, and projected substantial productive human capital measures. On professional front, he has been associated with organizations such as Ashok Leyland, Information Technology, Toyota Kirloskar Motors, Siemens Information Systems, First American Financial Services, currently supporting an HR advisory services as Chief Enabling Officer. Being a passionate HR professional, he is associated with National HRD Network, more than HR Global, and widely networked across HR groups turnover. He has worked with companies like L&T, Ford Motors, Jubilant Life Sciences, Kalpataru Power Transmission, Jindal Saw, Gujarat Gas, Astral Pipes, Syntex, Varmora, to name a few. Now I'll introduce our moderator for the day's event, Mr. Vinay Trivedi, Head HR Tone Tag. He comes with over 13 years of experience in the field of talent management, talent engagement, and talent acquisition across IT, ITES, banking, insurance, and fintech sectors. Without taking much time, I would now request Mr. Vishnu Trivedi to take over this session. Over to you, Mr. Trivedi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mathur Saab. I think you've been too kind in introducing all of us here. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And thank you for all the lovely participants to sort of join in this conversation with us. For me, this may be webinar number, I think half century 50. I don't know what is the webinar number for all the participants here. I'm just super thrilled that even after 100 days of lockdown, we still have 46 participants on a webinar to understand how the new normal is going to be. I promised to try and make this conversation little fun with some takeaways, with some activities. We will definitely try and enjoy this conversation. I'm not going to just leave your panel members here to give very textbook answers. The fact that I am a moderator, I've had to do a lot of homework and I'm not used to working so hard. HR normally doesn't work very hard. I know a lot of HR folks are here. We believe in smart work in some sense. But if I work so hard, I'll make sure that we have some fun as well and we learn. While we've had these very long introductions about all the wonderful work our panel members have done, we will do a quick round of new type of an introduction to just so that you get to know your panel members a little better. What we're going to do is Dr. Soumya, Raghunandan, Dr. Sheetal, I know Dr. Soumya doesn't like to be called as doctor, so we will make sure that we call her doctor, so she keeps getting.
Thank you.
So we will introduce ourselves in very quickly in just 3 sentences so that people get to know us. Obviously, first your name and what you'd like us to address you. Second, I want to know one thing that your friends, one quality that your friends know you for. So if somebody has to describe Vinay Trivedi, they'll describe me as talkative. So one thing that your friends would know you for, and one thing that professionals hate you for. That's your teams, it could be people who report into you, your bosses. One thing that your professional teams hate you for. It's a very simple format. We'll start with Raghunandan, and then we'll move to Soumya and then Dr. Sheet.
Fine.
So over to you, Raghu.
Yeah. Thanks, Vinay. Hi, guys. I think some Bangalore people in Bangalore, they would be knowing me very well. My name is Raghunandan. Very familiar face in the NHRD circles. And apart from that, in the professional forum as such. As it was introduced, I do come as a seasoned HRBP, which I do. And at the same time, in fact, I have been associated with different forums like NAPM, NHID, MTHR Global, SHRM. So that's how I think my introduction begins there. Have been in the industry for some time and now basically getting into the consulting.
No. We will stick to the format.
Perfect.
I'm going to be very, very, very strict. I'm known to be a strict moderator.
Okay.
What is one thing that your friends, Raghu, know you?
Fine. I am coming back to that. Yeah. People in the forum and as well as my friends, they know me for advising them, professionally advising them. That's one thing. Being and compassionate with them. So that's where most of the people, they like to be in my network. So that's what I'm known for. Yes, Vinay. So next.
And what would your teams hate you for?
Fine. So far, no one has come back to me saying that, okay, fine, they hate me. And maybe
we are somewhere losing you, Raghu. We're somewhere losing you. I think there's some network issue.
They would like to say that which is happening there. And I mean, I think, obviously, there is a network issue. Can you hear?
Yeah. Very quickly. So I heard you say that nobody has come back to you and told you what they hate about you. That means they're very scared of him. If somebody is not given him a feedback, that means they're scared of Raghu. That's something that I will take. We will.
No. So far, I think no one has been scared of me. I think you should try me out. Give me an opportunity to work for you then. Then you can know that.
This suddenly turn out to be like a 9 p.m. prime time that comes on one of the channels. Obviously, make it as engaging as that.
Yeah, this is a fight. I mean, it's a debate.
Yeah.
Fine.
We'll move to Soumya.
Soumya.
You could tell these 3 quickly.
All right, so now you know my name. I hate to be called as Dr. Soumya. One quality that my friends can actually vouch for is resilience. That's something that they really, talk very highly of, that nothing can shake her up. The second thing that they really hate me for is the energy level. It's like I can constantly go on and on and on, and they're like, can you just stop? Give us a breathing space. So that's what they really don't like me for. And one quality that people you work with hate you for, right? And one hidden talent you wanted, right? So hidden talent, I would say that I'm a trained Kathak dancer. I'm a BA in Kathak. So that's something that I do. I'm also very good with a lot of crochets and a lot of cooking stuff. So I'm an amazing baker as well. So all invited home. Please come.
Excellent, excellent. For all the participants, we also have a surprise rapid fire round for the panelists. While I've told them there's going to be rapid fire, I haven't given them the questions. Now that Soumya has told that nobody can shake her up and resilience is not a
Oh God.
to be a test.
Stop being an Arnab, please.
So we'll move to Dr. Sheetal. If you could share these three things.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. Thanks for keeping me last so I could think of. And I introduced myself as an engineer by chance, a management graduate by mistake, and PhD holder by choice. So that's what I am. And I have been known among the people as a great listener. I would prefer to listen more throughout the day, and I can listen to the person from the bottom of the heart. So that's something which I am. Probably the high expectations which I keep from the people around is something maybe not being liked for. And about the hidden talent, apart from working as a leadership coach to many people, I work as an international astrologer also. So that's a part of my life. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Now that we know there's an international astrologer, we have a trained Kathak dancer. So I wish we could showcase some talent here, like an online talent show of all the panelists. I think they'll kill me if I tell that. But we'll move on to the topic really. When Peterson sort of reached out to me saying that you want to moderate this session, there is this topic we want to discuss. I actually asked him that, are you not tired of discussing the same thing for last 100 days, week on week? What is this that you want to achieve? So I was doing a little bit of a stress test for him, but I eventually told that I'll moderate. And he was also, okay, now I don't know, what do I say? So he didn't have a choice. He said, yeah, I agree with everything that you say. You're right in everything that you say. We've spent about 100 days. The new normal or the next normal is not anything that's going to be same as we thought, that it'll end in 2 months, 3 months, and we'll start going back to office by July, August. There were a lot of things that we sort of envisioned for ourselves when this started off in last week of March. Obviously, we are coming to terms with the reality that this is the new normal is nowhere close to what we thought it's going to be. The day after tomorrow is that we have to prepare ourselves to the way this whole new life is. And today's next 25 minutes we will spend on understanding how do we deal with this through the panel members' vast experience, and I promise to through these panel members give you tips that you can take back and implement to make your lives smoother and have like good learning as far as today's. First question really is to Raghu. Raghu, we've sort of completed 100 days and a little more than that in the lockdown. Can you tell us one or two habits that have kept you sane, that has kept you motivated, and that you would advise to people here to pick up so that they can become sane if they're not, or they can get motivated? If you could sort of share that.
Perfect, Vinay. Thanks so much. We have completed 100 days. Maybe I see that, okay, fine. We would become, how to work virtually for some more days to come. And what motivates me is in terms of, I'm a workaholic, so I keep working. And one of the challenges is in terms of, we were talking about VUCA, and we have experienced VUCA now in terms of, I think the first is one of the challenges what we see is the network issues where we had to interact with people and get back with our deliveries. So that's a challenge there. Apart from that, we miss meeting the friends, which we say everything is virtual. So that's a different take there. Third would be in terms of we are missing the social circles. So apart from that, today we do have Zoom session. We have the parties coming up and the get-togethers. this, I mean, when it comes to my habits, in fact, as I have been accustomed to this for the last almost 9 years now. I've set up my virtual office, and which is happening there. And only thing is, when you are discussing with somebody else, probably they are not accustomed to the system. So you have to ensure that, okay, fine, they do understand the system, and then after that interact with you. So that's a thing which I was looking at. And apart from that, would be in terms of how do you engage someone? How do you motivate someone to basically be live? So because you, I mean, if you are live, then somebody else might not be live. So at the same time, you have to engage them. And people engagement would be a challenge in terms of they said, okay, fine, I have this challenge, I mean, ABC challenge. So you have to basically of sort give them a solution, alternative solution in terms of saying that, okay, fine, this is what you are supposed to do. And so that I can give an example of a bandwidth. So bandwidth would be the first problem, which basically comes up and says that,
what I would suggest is, I think while you're talking, switch off your video so that your voice is clear, because we are not able to hear you.
Sure. I'll do that.
Miss out on that, and come back on video.
Absolutely. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Much better. Much better.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So that's having said that, I think that is basically the challenge which I would like to come into. And my advice to people is in terms of first have an open mindset, because this pandemic situation is going to continue. And apart from that, probably we'll have to stick on to the virtual office. Now, since we have this gig economy in practice, which we were talking about earlier, and now I think it is in practice now. So where people have to basically open up in terms of organizing themselves virtually, and then interacting with on their assignments and completing the assignments in time. So this is what I would basically opine.
Got it. I would agree that a lot of things are going to remain changed, and thank you for sort of sharing this. People engagement is going to be a huge challenge, and that sort of brings me to my next question. That's to Soumya. Soumya, as the day after tomorrow is really not going to be anywhere close to normal or pre-COVID times, as we would call it. Given this backdrop, a lot of people have to now set up home offices. People first thought that they have to just set up home offices for, say, a month, month and a half, 2 months. But obviously it looks like it's going to go on for at least 6 to 8 months before anything else can be close to normal. Given that, and basis your experience of, helping transition, people into working from home, what is that one advice you would give to HR folks that are now trying to set up or help people set up home offices? Because first 2 months, everybody was very excited. HR would call up 10 times to the employees to check if they're all right. Employees would get on to so many calls to see if they've eaten lunch, if they have their break times. There used to be so much of concern, compassion, care. Now all that has sort of come down, and now it's back to business, saying that at 10 o'clock in the night also you get a call, I need this, and you need to get it done with. So what is that advice that you would give to HR folks while they're setting up a work from home culture?
See, Vinay, what I have actually understood through the entire dynamics that have come into play is that everyone is following a certain rat race, if I can call it so, right? So IT industry is already into this concept of work from home, but people like us coming from the manufacturing industry, it was unheard of, because our work is on site rather than off site. So that mind shift that needed to come into play was very important. We needed to make them understand that you need to now create a home office, and why is that home office so necessary? Now, as in HR, our task was to be a facilitator, to be a trainer, a coach, and also a mentor, all encompassed at the same time. Also, what we did was that, this employee engagement activity, see, if the employee is there on site, it is very easy to make them engaged in an activity. When they're off site, when they're not in constant touch with you, you sort of lose sense of timelines. So you have people calling you on Saturdays and Sundays also, whether when you were working on 5 days a week, and it is absolutely okay because, oh, you're working from home, you know? So there are no 9 to 5 timeline. Now, this is where I brought in discipline. This is where we have to get into the groove that yes, it is a home office. Yes, we are tolerant enough to the dogs barking, to the husband asking for tea, and to you working, but at the same time, we need to have focus on the work. So discipline is something that HR has to drive in. There is also a lot of agility that needs to come into play. We have to adopt, we have to engage, and most importantly, we have to understand what the new business demands are. So, you know, when I am in luxury, even though what is happening around the world, US is defying everything. They don't want to wear mask. It is against their, you know, rights and against their freedom. So what they're doing, they're still going to the malls, they're still doing their buyings, and they still want, so we're still having orders. So that's a good problem, wherein there is a migration of labor that has already happened. But then these are the challenges that we are working in. So the only advice that I would like to give to all the HR folks is have that sense of discipline, be agile, create a sense of adaptability around what you've already done, and please don't get swayed with whatever you're, you know, hearing, listening on LinkedIn, you know, that this is the new normal, that is the new normal. You've got to stick to what is required in your space. Don't get influenced. And that is something which is very important. Stand your ground.
Got it. No, I think two of the advices that you gave, and I think every HR professional and everybody else who's also here on the call who may not be from HR, one is to maintain your discipline. I mean, to have your routine, which is very, very critical because it generally takes a huge toll on your mind over a period of time. And to your point on LinkedIn, I mean, LinkedIn, I think is amazing that it's turned into archduck of you know, the educated, or it just a sensation all the way. I adopted to watching news only for 5 minutes in a day. I switched off all the notifications that come on my phone from any of these news channels. That really helped me cut the clutter, and it really keeps me sane. I'm not getting worried that the whole world is coming to an end or anything else, because, you know, this is something you have to live with. So thank you very much for that great advice. I'm really, you know, hoping that people take this up. And for all the participants, I mean, you don't just have to listen to us on mute. If you agree to something, you are free. It's all free to chat. There's not going to be any money charged on your Paytm accounts. You can go ahead and say that agree to this, will follow this. Just, you know, make it interactive so that we also know that you're listening to us. All of you are very happily switching off your videos and just listening to us. So we need to know that you're awake and here. But thank you, Soumya, for that lovely advice. I'm sure it'll help.
I think we have lost. Vinay.
Yeah, I think so. We have lost Vinay.
Making those mistakes, you know, in the way that either somebody sits on the bed and is working, or somebody eats at odd hours.
Vinay, pause. There was a lull. You went off.
Yeah, we
lost
missed you
you
in
in
between.
between.
Yeah, in between we missed you.
Is it okay now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
better.
okay.
So I was saying that, you know, I was working on the bed for 4 hours or 5 hours and then suddenly had backache, or, you know, I would do binge watch because I know I didn't have to get up and drive my car to work. So what is that one mistake that you did when the lockdown started? And what did you do to unlearn that and you know, correct that mistake? If you could talk about that, I think a lot of them will relate to some of these things, and maybe they want to change as well.
Is this directed
This
specifically
is
to
for Dr. Sheetal, and then we can also have Soumya and Raghu pitch in with their mistakes before we move to the rapid fire.
Okay.
If I need to answer your question of one mistake, probably I would do it this way. I was living in anticipation. We believe that there's a future, but this has a proven that probably there's nothing like future. We need to live in what we are in right now today. And if we can survive, then we can have tomorrow. So if we look at this picture on a larger scale, on a larger fulcrum, then it's the human being who have created much damage to the earth, and there were species uh, gone extinct. There have been species which are in danger, and this specific episode has proven to mankind that yeah, you need to take care of it. So whether it is a business or society or a country or even now even a small town in any part of the world is equally worried the way the large cities are. So one mistake probably I would acknowledge that I as a human being took things for granted, the things that have been there for me, even the reality in sense of life as a whole, we started taking for granted, and that has been proved. Now, if I talk about myself, uh, since this episode started, we were listening to media, newspaper, television, internet, that this happening in this part of the world, this happening in that country, and now that has come to our country, and now that has come to a family as well. Till the time it was there, we were just being part of so-called passively, we were watching. But now uh, it has been, it has come to a family. So I would say that now the mistake that I was doing, ignoring my life as a precious one, and now I feel that yes, there's one life you need to take care of, and then you need to create better future for you.
Excellent. I think a lot of us that were taking ourselves too lightly, a lot of us who were taking ourselves for granted, a lot of us who thought we are going to live for eternity, I'm sure it's a rude shock and awakening for all of us. Thank you very much, Dr. Sheetal, for bringing that point out. And I think we should stop taking anybody for granted, and we should live life to the fullest. I would agree to your point of view there. I'd request if
One more point I would like to add.
yeah,
As an HR fraternity, we have a saying. Peter Drucker uh, said that employees are assets, right? They are not liability. Now, this is a challenge. See, I'm a student of leadership. It's a challenge for all the management people that this is the right time to acknowledge that employees are assets. Let me give you one small example. One of my clients, they are technology driven company, and the management was asking their senior management team to come to the office, and suddenly last week they have lost one of the key member who happened to be the key member for the project. And now that since they have lost him, uh, they feel that the project cannot exist. So this is the right time to acknowledge that the employees are your real assets and you need to take care of them.
absolutely, absolutely.
Over to you, Vinay.
Yeah. I think the human element that was slowly losing its sheen with a lot of tech interventions has suddenly gained prominence. The irony is when we were all together, we were less human than when we are all virtual. We are more human when we are virtual in really appreciating somebody's concern, which in a normal case we may not have appreciated the way we are doing it. So I think life has funny ways to teach us how to deal with human beings. Thank you for bringing that point up, Dr. Sheetal. We'll move to Soumya. What is that one mistake that you want to share that you sort of then unlearned and relearned?
Well, again, I would agree with what Dr. Sheetal has said, that we all tend to take things too much for granted, right? And that was something that we were doing. Yes, I would also agree to you. When there was this whole lockdown happened, we all took it and yeah, we finally got the break that we all needed and all that. That was the sort of mindset. So we were having family time and we were having everything, and then ultimately you start feeling, that is only one aspect of your being that is getting satiated when you are with your family. What about the other emotional aspect which got satiated when you were in office? So, you had your colleagues, you had your bosses, and there was another kind of a high that you would get when you would deliver a project. In the house, you're still a mother, you still, a daughter-in-law, and you're like, "Okay, yaar, bana diya, kuch bana diya, it's okay, that's what's supposed to do." So, you're still not getting that kind of, and yes, my daughter is like, "Wow, mom, you can do so much." But then you get a different kind of high when you are in your workplace than when you are in house. So I would say that, as a human being, we need to be fulfilled in more ways than one. And it cannot always be that you working from home and you feel all satisfied. Yes, work from home and everything. You need to have that, balance of both work and home and office together. So I would say that striking the balance when I had let go of it and then coming back was one thing that I learned to do again. So that balance was very important for me.
Excellent. I'm also, before I go to Raghu, for the participants, if you could share one mistake in the chat box, I'm sure a lot of us have gone through those mistakes, and it'll just help us learn with each other that I'm not the only one who's done this. There are also more people who would have done this. Or, just share your thoughts while we, talk about this. We'll be happy to read them and just make some comments wherever possible. Raghu, what was your one mistake?
Well, listening to Dr. Sheetal, Soumya, I do agree with their thoughts, their sentiments. In fact, it is a similar sentiments which I went through because earlier there was no work-life balance. We used to cut sorry figures in terms of not attending a social event or whatever might be the thing. Today, it has become so much in terms of having virtual webinars over a period of time, maybe I think almost 4 to 5 hours in a day, where you get so much of GAN, which you never used to have that earlier, right? So that's one of the thing. And apart from that, yeah, you do have fun time with your friends and your colleagues, as well as with your, since I also mentor the students. So I get to know more about their inner talents, so which basically keeps you going, which otherwise would not have happened. Apart from that would be in terms of most of the people, they used to come and, as you rightly mentioned, that we used to listen to the television channels, the news and stuff like that. Yeah, people used to come back and just say, Raghu, suddenly, there is a lockdown. What are we going to do? That's the first scenario. And saying that, okay, fine. I said, I just had told them that it is going to be till September, we are supposed to stay like this. And maybe over a period of time, we might once again meet up. But the situation warrants that we have to stay back still at home. And maybe that's the thing. Second would be in terms of you have to empathize with your colleagues. So that was the, when it basically come to the compensation, when you started reducing your compensation for whatever may be the reasons. So that was one more shocker for people. And actually, we should have basically laid some sort of a guideline in the beginning itself, saying that, okay, fine, since you are going to work from home and there are certain expenses which might not be mentioned, not be included there, probably that would be taken care. So these are some of the challenges which we came up, and I think balancing each and everything, balancing the emotions, balancing even your thought process, so was one of the learnings for me. And maybe I think certain things, whatever you learned from the books, probably you have to unlearn them, and then after that you have to be more empathetic and more humanistic, because we all used to speak offline, like Dr. Kafan, you have to be human, but at the same time you have supposed to demonstrate your thoughts. This is what I felt, Vinay.
Got it. Got it. No, I think, the new normal or the day after tomorrow really is going to be how can we make this lifestyle sustainable and how can we ensure that we continue to remain sane. There was a lot of excitement in the first 30 days of the lockdown because we were practicing new hobbies. We were really, starting to, become master chefs, India, all over. We were doing a lot of activities. Then suddenly we realized that, okay, this is going to stay. So let me calm down and let me just do few activities. Now it's back to a normal routine, apart from the fact that you're going to work for the ones who are working from home. And for the ones who are managing to go to work, it's only for a couple of days or for a couple of hours in a day. So that's an exciting time that they are navigating through empty roads and going in and working and coming back. So then the day after tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, is how do we make this sustainable? And all these tips that our panel members have given about the mistakes that they did is so that you do not repeat that in the future. All that these panel members are giving you as tips, either to be disciplinarian, either to have your routines right. They're only going to help you in very, very simple but very powerful way to deal with your lifestyle that is here to stay as far as the new normal is concerned. We will start taking a few questions from the audience. I have a bunch of them here. You can also type in so that, we can answer them. But while, you guys write down very specific questions and not the predicting future. Oh, we have Dr. Sheetal here, and I'm sure he can predict a lot of future for us. But let us look at some tips that we can, some questions that can give you practical tips. So let's not start saying, how do I reskill myself? How does HR change? I mean, none of us know a lot of things, by the way. We are all learning as we go. So if there are specific questions, type in. I'm moving to an interesting segment, which is the rapid fire. The rapid fire is, and to the panel members, instructions are that you will be honest, you will be quick, and it will be a 1 or 2 word answer to the question. And to the participants, there are some interesting questions. And if you think you also have gone through this or done this, I know your bosses are there here on the call. I know a lot of your bosses are also there, so you may not be able to openly say that. Feel free to privately write into me. I promise not to tell this to any of your bosses, but I think it'll just make this whole conversation fun. We will start with Soumya. And Soumya, so there are a set of 3 or 4 questions, okay? You moved from sales to strategy to HR. You've done multiple roles, okay? Can you tell me one thing that you could do as a salesperson that you cannot do as an HR person? Like, for example, I know so many salespeople will say that I'm going on a sales call, but they're out shopping or they're out picking up their kids from school. HR can never get out like that. HR is stuck in the walls of the office. So tell us one thing that that you could do as a salesperson, but you cannot do as an HR.
Oh, I absolutely bang on, but not like that. We used to have the biggest and the most amazing jewelry show that you can possibly think of in Basel, in Vegas, and in Hong Kong. And I miss those, For the love of my life, I just miss those. Vegas is all glitter and glitz, and I just miss that. But then, people interaction was always my forte, and that is something that keeps me going. So I think it'll be a lie to say that I'm not missing that, but I'm trying to make it up at some levels. But yes, that's something that I really miss.
Got it. Next question, and you have to be very honest to this, okay?
Yes. Done.
One reason given by your team member that you know is a bluff when they won't leave.
I'm unwell.
A lot of sick leaves. I
yes.
thought.
And I know that they are not, because their Facebook status or their WhatsApp status tells entirely a different story. But then as a boss, as a leader, you try to take a chill pill about it. It's hota hai, chalta hai. It's just cool. But because me doing that, yes.
Bosses keep snooping on us. We have to be very careful.
But since I've never, actually gone and questioned them back that you applied for a sick leave.
I know it's fun. So everything that we are asking in the rapid fire, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Please. Okay, let's make it rapid then.
Don't worry about these things.
Yes,
It's not to judge, any of the participants here.
Yes.
So you also have delivered a lot of guest lectures, right? Have you found any of your lecture boring anytime when you're delivering it, saying, "What am I talking? I mean, is this really what I want to do?" Ever?
Not really, because I get into an engagement on an engaging audience. So, like I said, energy is something which is always there.
This fourth question is going to be common to all the panel members. You can think of your answers. Do you take a power nap after lunch because you're working from home?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for being honest and being candid. We don't have a hamper here, but we'll request HRAI to sort of send something to the winner. And I don't know if I'm going to choose a winner or choose winners, but I may just choose one. Raghu, you're next.
Yes, Vinay.
So it's best when Raghu is off video in the rapid fire because it just. I think you must thank.
You can't see my expression, right?
Yeah, you must thank technology for this today. Have you ever bunked work to watch movie?
Not really,
No.
because I'm a workaholic.
So I think maybe you want to explore that option. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just.
No, even today the same thing. I think my entire family will be watching some movie on the television, and I'll be sitting and working.
Got it. So Raghu, you know, as your profession, you have worked on a lot of restructuring and helping a lot of HR setups, etc. Tell me one thing: why do we HR people love these big words like restructuring, talent development, talent management? Can we not just be a little simple in our approach and say that, hey, I'm just helping you to get your next promotion? I mean, nothing else. Why is it that we have this notion?
No, basically you have to please your bosses. One. Second thing is in terms of when you are restructuring, maybe especially when you are merging an organization, obviously you will be balancing between the systems there. And when you want to basically bring some of the best of the practices, probably yes, you have to do that and introduce some of the best HR practices to impress the employees as well as impress your boss. And tomorrow you can showcase yourself as an employer of choice to the world.
I only heard pleasing the boss. I disconnected after that.
Okay.
Saying to please the boss, I only take that as the answer, and I'm discarding everything else.
Done.
What is that one advice that you gave companies, but you never followed in your own restructuring or in your own company or in your own way? One advice.
Timeline, because basically adhering to the particular timeline, because sometimes for various reasons it is to basically the schedule is to go haywire.
That's very honest of you. Thank you. The last one, which is a common one, is do you take afternoon siestas or naps, power naps?
Power naps, yes, sure, but in fact we don't have that comfort level of basically having a siesta.
Got it. I think one advice for all the HR folks: please introduce a snooze hour for your workplaces or a silent hour. 1 to 2 is a good time to tell people that you can snooze and you can sleep. It's okay. We'll move to Dr. Sheetal. Dr. Sheetal, trainers and coaches tend to talk a lot. Why is that so?
Trainers do, coaches doesn't do.
Coaches do not.
No.
Excellent. That's straight to the point. Who is the coach at your house?
My wife.
I thought.
And now these days my daughters also.
Got it. As a coach, what do you hate about coaching on the fun side?
Yeah. So when the client is not clear what to expect from.
True.
That
Got it.
probably that doesn't help anyone.
Got it. Got it. Uh, do you also take afternoon naps?
Yeah, many.
Oh, that's honest.
And then I see I'm an engineer basically, and engineers have a habit of late night working, reading rather at the early days,
Yeah,
and which becomes a part of your life now.
got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. I with this we sort of end this rapid fire, and there is no award. We are not giving any hamper. It was just fun. If you guys thought it would be something coming up, this is a free webinar. Remember, we don't make any payments here. Uh, we are almost out of time, and we need to end this sharp at 4. And I'd rather end this earlier than later, because that's how we respect people's time. I want to end this, and I'll go I'll go the reverse order. I'll start with Dr. Sheetal, then Raghu and Soumya. 3 tips that you will give for people that will help them in planning the day after tomorrow, or in sort of making day after tomorrow more interesting. And a bonus, I'll also share tips. I'm the moderator, so advices are free in India. I'll also give 3 advices at the end of it. But we'll start with Dr. Sheetal.
Yeah, I would put it this way. Number 1, respect yourself. Number 2, respect your team. And number 3, respect your organization. So
Sir,
connect with these 3 things, and probably you will be part of the bigger picture of the future.
excellent. Thank you very much for that. Raghu, over to you. 3 quick advices.
Raghu's link is
So
missing.
while Raghu sort of joins in, Soumya, I'll come to you. 3 quick advices.
Stay relevant, be
How-
resilient.
How do you stay relevant? No, don't give global advice. How do you stay relevant? Tell that.
Relevant in the sense of you have to know what is the requirements and the need of your business as of today and the future. All right, how it is going to change or transition in future. So you have to stay relevant, stay resilient. All right, when I say resilient, it means that don't just give up on hope, or just don't say that world has come crashing down on you. So just to give a summary of the statement, I would say that remember, for every catastrophe, there was a Noah who carefully built his ark. You need to build yourself very carefully with all the possibilities that you can assimilate during these times. There are people who are going in for online classes. They are doing a lot of webinars. Learn as much as you can. Be the knowledge sponge, because these times are not going to come back, because once things open up, you will be in action mode, and there will be no turning back, and no time for you to even go back and reflect on what the learnings are. So internalize everything and just be ready for whatever it is going to be. So just equip yourself well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Raghu, 3 advices that you would quickly give. We just have 3 minutes to close. If you could tell.
Thanks, Vinay. It is basically, I want people to stay agile, understand about the technology, and say don't give any sorry reasons. Second would be in terms of avoid stress. So you have to take care of yourself, because no one is going to come and help you out. Third would be in terms of balance your life. So don't cut sorry figures saying that, okay, fine, I am very busy in my work or whatever is there. So you have to spend enough time with your family, because ultimately they are going to take care of you. These are the 3 things, Vinay.
Got it. Yes, Dr. Ankita, sure, we can take a few questions. People, if you could just give pointed questions here, we can take them for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And while you pin your questions here, I would I would share 3 things that I would do in the next normal. The first thing that I would do is I would just relax and just tell myself the world is not over. You would have realized even in the webinar, I look very relaxed. I'm in the Buddha zone. I have no worries. That's not the reality, but I keep telling myself that the world is not over. So I think everybody should keep telling yourself the world is not over to stay positive. Check on 5 of your closest people regularly. Very, very critical for your mental being, because you know that the other 5 also are on the same boat, and vice versa. Third thing that I would want everybody to sort of employ is moderation. Don't go overboard on everything like passion, learning, reskilling. Don't go overboard. You have to decide a schedule, and please please moderate your lives in a very normal way. Don't try to, just because you're in the lockdown, I'll do 15 courses. It's of no use if you don't remember or don't have any takeaways of those courses. Just because it's lockdown, I will start reskilling myself. Just don't do reskilling for the heck of it. So moderation is key. And this is the biggest advice, that please have moderation in your life. Go a little slow, be a little calm, and I'm sure you will, definitely come through this. And we are social beings. We will come back to normal. We will come back to meeting people. We will keep laughing about that we were a generation that went through a pandemic. We will tell our kids who have not seen pandemic, saying that you don't even know what we went through. You guys are lucky. So there will be a lot of stories that we'll say. So let's save that for the world. Questions, if any, and while the questions come in, I want one activity from all the participants here. Pick up 1 or 2 learnings that you've had from this webinar that you're going to implement, not just learnings that you had, but that you're going to implement. It could just be one. Even if there's one thing that you can, pick up and implement, 30-40 minutes of we being on this webinar is, mission accomplished. I wanted to pick that up. I wanted to tag HRAI on LinkedIn, saying that this was my learning in this particular session. It'll do 2 things. One, you are reassuring and sort of documenting it, so you'll make sure that you follow. 2, it may help other people also pick up those learnings. They don't have to necessarily be here on this webinar, but it'll also help them pick up that learning. So I want you guys to tag HRAI. Don't tag any of us. I mean, we don't need to be tagged, but saying that I attended this and this was my learning. I think it'll be great. So that's really where it is. I haven't seen any questions. Definitely, we have to stay positive, respect ourselves and others. Oh, respect others. I realized that how much, so I'll tell you a funny story. When the lockdown started, my mom started doing meditation every day. She said, I'm not used to seeing 8 people in the house 24/7. This is my area. I need to meditate to keep myself sane. You do whatever you guys want to do, but I'm going to meditate every day, right? So I think staying positive and respecting yourself is very important. Please do that. It definitely helps. Okay. I haven't seen any questions, but if there are any questions, all of us are reachable on LinkedIn. All of us are pretty active, and we definitely will answer. Should you have any, reach out to us. We are on the HRAI networking groups as well. So if a lot of you are already there on those WhatsApp groups. Send in your questions there. We will definitely try and answer them and very candidly and honestly to help you. It was lovely talking to all the panel members. Raghu wants to say something. Raghu, you want to say something?
Vinay, we also have a Twitter handle now.
We also have a Twitter handle. So
absolutely.
you can post it there, we will answer. Thanks, Raghu, for sort of saying. So I had a lot of fun. I hope Dr. Sheetal, Soumya, and Raghu, and everybody else here have had fun. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Mathur Saab, and thank you to all the panel members who patiently went through this grilling with me. Thank you very much. Stay safe, guys, and over to HR if they have anything else to say.
Thank you, Mr. Vinay, for facilitating this discussion so well. And thank you, dear panel members, Dr. Soumya, Mr. Raghu, and Dr. Sheetal.
Pleasure.
It has been a pleasure being with all of you today, and we had an insightful webinar. Thank you so much for taking up significant number of questions. Thanks for making this journey a memorable one. Before we conclude with today's session, we would also want to thank all the associations for supporting HRAI event. First, Geisha IT Association. Geisha is the ICT window of Gujarat in the world's and nurtures, fosters and tracks the ICT industry of Gujarat. It is the only state level association for electronics, software, IT, ITES, BPO, KPO, LPO, telecom, ISP, networking, and IT education, which is recognized by the government of Gujarat. Federation of Gujarat Industries was founded in the year 1918. It is one of the oldest active socially conscious industrial association in the country. The Federation of Gujarat Industries aimed at promoting, protecting, and projecting the interest of industries and also catering to the need of the community at large. NASSCOM COE Gandhinagar. NASSCOM was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in July 2015 as a part of Digital India initiative to jumpstart the IoT ecosystem, taking advantage of India's IT strength in the country. The Center of Excellence for IoT India at IIT Gandhinagar and help country attain a leadership role in the convergent area of hardware and software. Bharat Nirman. Bharat Nirman was set up in early 1980 and was registered as a charitable and public utility organization on 9th June 1980. The main objective of which the society was set up was to revive all ancient Indian science and propagate Indian way of life, culture, and development. LMA Lucknow, Lucknow Management Association, was formed as a local chapter of AIMA in 1976. Establishment of IIM at Lucknow in 1984 gave flip to LMA's endeavors in profiliation of management knowledge and taking the management movement forward. Thank you once again, dear panel members and our participants, for joining us today. Do join us for our next webinar on the 17th of July, 2020, that is tomorrow, a session on emotional fitness. See you soon. Stay safe. Take care. And bye for now.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So we can now log off this webinar. Thank you so much.